Hello, everyone, and welcome in week 6 as we are celebrating 50 years of Mitchell High football. I'm Brody Miller, Chris Pittman, and Danny Willis. Guys, week 6 already, second week of conference play. This week, Polk County coming to town for homecoming. And let's talk real quick. Last week, Mitchell lost at Hendersonville 34-7. Owen Riddle, our Western Sizzling WTOE player of the game. And guys, we were talking just a moment ago. Some positives to take away last week for sure. Came out, played a pretty good first half, only down 2 scores at halftime. Game kind of got out of control, but overall a better effort as we took on a good Hendersonville team last week.
Yeah, our defensive secondary played a lot better. The whole team played with more intensity. And like you said, they got the second half kickoff. We were down 2 scores, and they come down scores. They put us 3 scores down right off the bat. The one thing, their line pretty much for the night controlled the line of scrimmage. That hurt. I think when the final stats was there, the yards per each team were fairly close. But here again, we still have that bugaboo of turnovers, which hurts us.
I thought in the second quarter, Hendersonville went up 14-7, and they kick off to us. And I feel like if we could have got some offense there, and if nothing else, maybe we didn't have to score. But if we could have exhausted the time in the second quarter, we go in at halftime and we're down 14-7. It's a doable game after halftime, but we were not able to convert and keep the chains moving. They wound up getting the ball back with a couple of minutes to go in the half and wound up going down and scoring. It was 21-14 at halftime. So I think if we could have generated some offense and moved the chains and had a little time possession and stuff, maybe the outcome of the game could have been different. But we, for whatever reason, I kind of forgot we couldn't move the chains.
Right.
Guys, trivia question before we go any further. This will make you think a little bit. Who was the first Mitchell High player to receive a college scholarship? And at the end, we will answer who that was, where they went, and what year. First Mitchell High player to receive a college scholarship to play football at the next level. Guys, we have made it to 2014, as last week we covered Coach Charlie Snyder and Russell Barnett. And this is the year that the man in charge now, Coach Travis Pittman, was introduced as head coach of Mitchell High School. Let's talk first about his first season where we went 8-5 and lost in the second round.
Well, Brody, Coach Pittman, ironically, is the 10th football coach in Mitchell High School history. And so he was named the head coach going into the 2014 season. He came, and this is no disrespect or casting no negativity on the coaches that preceded him. Coach Pittman came in with a new attitude, a new way of doing things, a fresh outlook and stuff, and I think our kids really responded well to him going into that 2014 season. Ironically, the guys that were, I'm sure, were sophomores and juniors, but quite possibly sophomores, juniors, and seniors, before being named the head coach, Coach Pittman had to spend at least part of his day helping in the PE department at Harris Middle School. So Coach Pittman knew the guys that he would have on his team. So he had a really good handle on the guys that he would be coaching. He knew their strengths, weaknesses, the things that they needed to work on to be better football players, better athletes. So he had a really good grasp on things when he came in. And I think our guys responded really well. We came out of the gate like gangbusters. We won our first 4 games right out of the gate, and so he's 4-0 into his career. So what a better way to start. Then he winds up losing 4, and then we rebounded after that with a big win at home against Mountain Heritage. When Coach Pittman, in his first year, he started being young at quarterback as a freshman, which is really unprecedented. You don't get that very often. And so Ben completed a pass in that Heritage game to Trey Carson, and he housed it, and that went on. I think the final score in that game was 26-22. So that was a really top-notch quality win against Mountain Heritage, and again solidified Coach Pittman as a legitimate coach at the helm at Mitchell High School.
Certainly did, and this is when we saw, a lot of what we know now coming in. A lot of, Coach Pittman came in, built up a good staff, some guys that had played at Mitchell and knew the game very well. We saw a bigger emphasis on the weight room like we do now. Off-season strength and conditioning, getting ready for the season, and the things that we run. And so I think we made a big turn right there. And as you said, Chris, players responded well to it.
Well, in that first year, he had some good things happen. Again, we start out 4-0. We his first game as head coach, we went to West Wilkes and played them, and we had a history with West Wilkes in the playoffs because 3 or 4 years before that, Coach Barnett took his team, quite possibly the team that made the deepest run in the playoffs ever for a Mitchell team. When Juggy Hughes was junior, we went over there and beat them. So we had a little bit of history with them, and so he reels off 4 wins right out of the gate, and we rebound. We beat Heritage, and then played Madison Avery before going into the playoffs, and he won his first playoff game, which again is a positive thing. And then we wound up having to go to Whiteville, North Carolina. Now, I'm not the brightest light bulb in the marquee sign, but I have a real hard time when I look at a map of seeing Whiteville, North Carolina in the western side of the state playoffs.
45 minutes.
So they're 45 minutes from the coast. But we went down there and took them on. They had a really good team. I think they may have advanced at least to the regional final game, if not the state championship game. And so our guys learned a lot about getting ready for the playoffs, what it takes to play in advance of the playoffs. And so that core group of guys that he had in 2014 really served him well for some of them the next year as seniors, but then for 4 years, Ben Young was our quarterback for 4 years. So a lot of lessons were learned in Coach Pittman's first year.
Certainly, I'll tell you a good story as well with that. Unable to have Ricky Duncan with us this week, but if he was here, he would definitely tell it, I'm sure. That game at Whiteville, I remember we picked him up. He was still driving a bread truck at that time. We picked him up there at Hildebrand, I think is where he was based out of at the time, right at the Burke and Catawba County line. Picked him up, went and called the game. Adam Wheeler, custodian at the high school, drove him back and dropped him off there at that exit. By the time we got back to Morganton, it was time for Ricky to go to work the next day. That's how far of a trip it was for a second-round high school playoff game. So a good season there in Coach Pittman's first year. Second year, Mitchell, a very good season, 14-2, only 1 loss in the regular season. Had an incredible playoff run, the best probably to this point up to 2015 that we had seen by far. Some big wins in the playoffs, and went to play for a state title at Wake Forest University against Wallace Rose Hill. Guys, let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, Brady, I just was looking at the scores of the games in the 2015 season, and in the 11 regular season games, 8 of those games the offense produced 40 or more points, and some of these are lopsided. But again, we're playing good people. We're playing West Wilkes, Cherokee, McDowell, North Buncombe. It's not like we're playing patty cake schedule. We're playing Owen, so we're playing Polk County. So here we go. I mean, eight of the 11 games we scored 40 or more points in the regular season. The 2 games that were less than 40 is we played in the Mitchell High School played in the first ever live football game broadcast in Western North Carolina on WLOS on a Thursday night. Mm-hmm. And we go to Polk County and eke out a nail biter 28-27. Current assistant coach, and I believe now head wrestling coach Dalton Beaver, scored the winning touchdown there at the end of the game. And then we came up on the short end at Mountain Heritage, but we only had 1 loss going into the playoffs. And then again, first 2 rounds we play Northmore and we win big 41-20. Then we go to Mount Airy and we win 41-14. So I mean, this team was a quality football team. East Wilkes, we go there, play probably one of the best teams in the mountains. East Wilkes, they had not lost, and we come away with an exciting nail-biting win there, 17-14. Come home and play Walkertown, and several big plays in that game. Things that come to my mind. is one of the first plays that Walkertown ran on offense. They ran a little slip screen, and Justin Green intercepted that pass and returned it for a touchdown. Later in the game, Peyton Green, we ran a counter play to him, and he housed it from about 60 yards. At the end of the game, again, Trey Carson preserved the win with a big interception late in the game, and that was a great environment. And those were fun games to be a part of. And in these first years here with Coach Pittman, our community was behind us. We had a lot of good people supporting us, a really good atmosphere in the community. It was so good for our guys because they often would come back and comment on, hey, I was at the steakhouse or Walmart or wherever, and people come up to me and pat me on the back and tell me, hey, thanks for being a Mountaineer. We appreciate the way you represent our school. And those things are so important for guys to hear and for people to brag on because it's a huge commitment. But again, a really big turnaround there in 2 years with Mountaineer football, and talk about laying a firm foundation for football for years to come on. Those first two teams did that.
You alluded to when we played the Wilkes team, we won by 3. Is that not the game that we kicked the field goal in?
Yeah, yes, it was.
Ben Bonner. Yeah, Ben Bonner kicked the field goal.
Yes, who Ben had a heart condition and he really wasn't supposed to be playing, but the doctor said, and Travis had always told him, don't you ever, if we don't have a good snap, you just run away from the ball.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it. And got down there, and he was close to the end of the game, and I know they was trying to decide what to do, and I think the players talked to Travis and said, we got this.
Yeah.
And he went out there and kicked that field goal.
Yeah, we definitely rolled the dice there, but it sure did pay off.
Yep.
Big third-round game at East Wilkes, and that made us able to come back home and play Walkertown in that Western Regional Final game. And then, Chris, that game against Wallace Rose Hill at Wake Forest there, I think you mentioned that a moment ago as well, didn't you?
Well, the game. Here's one of the things. Just a couple of tidbits and snippets from that game. When you get to those championship games, regardless of the sport, they make a lot of game day logo wear. And so up to that point, it could have been broken since then, but up to that point, Mitchell High School took the biggest crowd ever in the history of a 1A state championship game, and the people from Mitchell bought all the game day logo wear. So they ran out. And that was a great environment. Wake Forest did a really good job at hosting that. They were very cordial, very helpful. It was a great experience for our kids. Quite naturally, we would have preferred for the outcome to have turned out a little bit different. It did, but it was a great experience for our kids, our coaches, and our community because you could actually go back now and surf through YouTube, and you can actually see some footage from that game on YouTube. It's really good.
So, somebody made the comment there was nobody left to guard Spruce Pine that day.
Oh yeah. And in both of those instances, we had really good send-offs. The community was behind us. We had a mountaineer trail that started at the high school and went to Gillespie Gap, lined by people cheering the guys on, kids from school waving their shakers and stuff. It was a really great environment, and that was so much fun to be a part of for Mountaineer football.
Guys, this week, Polk County coming to town. Polk comes in at 2-3. It is homecoming as well. Chris lost their first conference game, 17-14 against Owen last week. Some comments about that coming in is looking to get back to 500 on the record and get our first conference win.
Brody, again, at this point in time in the season, you have to do what you do. You have to improve as much as you can from a week-to-week basis. You kind of tweak things a little bit, depending on who you're playing and that kind of thing. Again, it sounds like a broken record. For us to have a chance to win, we've got to do the ordinary things extraordinarily well. And that includes blocking and tackling, playing with intensity, getting after it, being able to control the line of scrimmage, those kind of things. Polk they've got some weapons. Their running back is a really good rusher. I think he's already eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark on the season. So they're going to fly around. They'll come and they'll play hard. And we'll have to play really good to win. There's no question about it. We're the kind of team, based on what we've done through the first 5 weeks, we have to play really well to give ourselves a chance to win in any game. Now, you look at things on paper, it might tell a little bit different story, but I don't think that there's any game left on the schedule that we can take any team for granted, because we could be beat by any of them. So we're going to have to play really well in order to win the game.
Certainly. Chris, before we go, answer to our trivia question from earlier. First Mitchell High player to receive a college scholarship to play football at the next level.
First Mitchell player to get a college scholarship was in 1978. Mr. Tim Phillips got a scholarship to go play football at Lenoir-Rhyne University in Hickory, North Carolina.
So that is the answer there this week. We'll have live coverage Friday night on WTOE. Remember, 3 ways you can find this show online: at the Mitchell Mountaineer Football Facebook page, 7 o'clock hour on Friday mornings on WTOE on the Bruce Eicher Morning Show, or you can find it in our pregame show starting around 7 p.m. on Friday evening. Thank you for joining us today, Week 6, as we celebrate 50 years of Mitchell High football.